Hello, Boomi community, and welcome to day 2 here at Boomi World Chicago 2026. We have been getting a great glance of what's happening under the hood at the Boomi tech stack here today at the keynote. I am joined by my co-host, John Furrier. And John, let's talk about it. I mean, yesterday we heard about the strategy, the big dream, right? The big hopes of this company.
Yeah.
Today we actually saw a little bit about what's actually happening. And one particular event that I thought was quite interesting was this whole idea of moving, basically to a humanless era of enterprise, right? What they call headless. Talk to me a little bit about what you think about that.
The Boomi positioning yesterday was clear. Today was the product day on the keynotes, and the day will get into more examples, but they did tease it out yesterday. Love the open source companion product that was again featured. It's been out in the wild, kind of cat's out of the bag. But the Orchestrate platform and the headless system is a trend we're seeing. We've seen headless systems in e-commerce. We kind of know what that is. Now applying that to the enterprise means you're going to have all this infrastructure and software powering this new enterprise, and I think a lot of people are reimagining the enterprise, and I think this is not just another product launch cycle you're seeing with Boomi, it's really a platform extension of what they put in years before. We've been covering at theCUBE when they kind of pivoted from, I won't say pivoted, they transformed from iPaaS, integration platform as a service, to a full platform. And they've just been grinding away, doing the work, Gemma, and what happens is they're in perfect position because AI and agents rolls right to their front door and they're prepared and their team is prepared, they got the chops, the executive leadership with Steve Lucas, and they're hitting the business transformation. That's upside potential that I won't say is a lucky strike by them, but they were prepared for that shift. So they got the platform chops and the opportunity to transform the business. So I think you're going to hear a lot more about how they're using tech internally, and they didn't use the word client zero, that's an IBM term, but it's becoming an industry standard. Client zero means they become the customer first, and all the work that they're doing with skilling and then companion product and then the connect with the APIs with the acquisition, they're putting it all together. This comes together and this coalesces, they could explode, and I think there'll be a major conversation in the C-suite, CFOs, HR, CISOs and CIOs. So I think it's a really good time where deep tech is merging with business. It's not just the classic cliche, tech meets business, it's really an absolute intersection. So I'm super happy for them, they deserve it.
We heard as well from some of their partners, some real life use cases of Boomi in action, right? We saw what's happening in the field, how folks are using this, and even some demos of Control Tower and what that looks like in terms of what the governance layers look like. And I think one part of the conversation this morning that is very important, especially in the world where we use terms like headless, which also create like a bit of inertia, right? Because they raise the question, what does that mean for human accountability? But what was clear from these demos is that there is going to be a layer of governance, right? There has to be that human interception point. You mentioned yesterday, you have to kill these agents sometimes. And it was clear that they have built a technology around that, right? Around a very compliant framework. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, the governance is built in, and I think on the headless, just one quick point on that. When you think of headless, we said e-commerce, like Shopify, everyone wanted to be a Shopify, so you got Commerce Tools is a great platform. In the enterprise, I look at headless more of like an interface to the end user. I think with AI, you're seeing user experience change with prompts. I might have voice activation, so I think there's going to be a diversity of touch points. From a personal standpoint, that's going to be tailored for every user. Yeah, there'll be some general purpose things like automatically reading my email, prompt, voice prompt. So headless means UX is whatever you want it to be and everything else works. Now on the governance, what I like about what they've done is it's really a governed data to agent platform. And I'll say that again, a governed data to agent platform. What that means is data and agents will talk natively, very, very fast, low latency, and that's going to happen very much across the entire enterprise. So you got to have the governed version of that. So they're building the governance into that paradigm. So it's not just like, oh, data's talking to an agent, go to a database and check rules and identity. They're going to build native governance into the system. So again, this is a platform shift, not just another set of product announcements. So we'll see how it goes, but we'll be watching. It's going to be interesting. It's strategically important.
One thing that hasn't come up yet, maybe we'll talk about a bit today, is tokenomics, right? And we saw a huge IPO announcement from our friend Andrew Feldman and the team at Cerberus today. I mean, John, what a news story that is. I mean, the market was waiting for this, right? They're saying this is going to set the tone for the IPOs for the rest of the year. It's a whopper for Feldman. What do you think?
Gemma, great point, and it's a great tie-in too, because it speaks to the Boomi opportunity, because all the infrastructure underneath where they sit is NVIDIA, now Cerebras, which had popped today. That effort is still underway. It's not yet steady state. I mean, it's booming, it's growing like crazy, but today's Cerebras IPO was priced around 185, I think it's like 40-something billion, I forget what the number is. It shot up 200 points out of the gate at 380, now it's at 330 right now as we speak. It's the NASDAQ, so the NASDAQ doesn't really have a lot of control, so it's going to pop up and probably float around. And the NASDAQ is not like the NYSE, where it's much more shaped and much more investor-friendly environment exchange, but I'm expecting the NASDAQ to show massive swings, so I'm not jumping into Cerebras right now. It's just personal, I'm not even stock advice, but it's going to go up and it'll probably settle down. But this is a great company. We've been tracking Cerebras for a long time. You interviewed Feldman as well as us. This was a company that was misunderstood, Gemma, from day one. Everyone in Silicon Valley was poo-pooing Cerebras. They had a completely different approach. Andrew Feldman and the team spent years perfecting this architecture they called the big chip. And the big chip is it looks like the size of a big plate. And it's the biggest chip in the world, and no one's ever done it before. So a lot of conventional wisdom was throwing shade on him, and they powered through, and it's a great solution because the data doesn't leave the chip. So I'm looking at co-packaged optics with NVIDIA, you can, networking is the bottleneck, we've talked about that on theCUBE. But when all that stuff's on the chip, that's good for space, that's good for defense tech, that's good for the hyperscale. So I think they hit it, and I think by adding their cloud-based service in, they got the revenue back up, and the only concern about Cerebras is that a handful of deals, Middle East, OpenAI, and AWS, so if I'm looking at that company, I'm going to look at what those back-end deals look like. That's the real risk. So I think Andrew, Julie Choi, and the whole team were amazing. They're going to have to crank up and get more deals. And if they do, they're the next NVIDIA. So they compete directly with NVIDIA. He says that publicly. And I think the market wants another NVIDIA because the stock's up massive.
Well, back to your point, right? It's all about the data on that chip, and what we're going to be talking about this afternoon with the team at Boomi and some of their partners is what that next wave of data connectivity and what I termed liquid data yesterday.
Great term.
Looks like, right? So looking forward to it.
But I put a little TM on that so we get a little royalty.
Get my GoDaddy account.
Did you hear Steve Lucas? We're going to use that. Okay, we'll talk.
Okay, well listen, John, great afternoon ahead. Looking forward to it. I'm Gemma Allen. We are here at Boomi World 2026. It is day 2, and we are super excited for a great conversation. We're going to look under the hood of the tech at Boomi, understanding exactly how this technology is going to meet this moment. Stay tuned.